Welcome to part two of dynamic data masking example, or you may see the title is DDM example. And if you remember in part one, we created a table to use and we added it to our sample database. And we kind of created a nightmare scenario table that has a lot of personal data in there. We've got a situation where when customers call in for help with their account, our call service personnel need to verify like the last four digits of the social security number. They may need to verify some aspect of their credit card number, some aspect of their email. And so we want to provide that information, but we've got this information in here, for example, their credit rating, and we do not want them to see that. In part one, we created the table, we added some data, and then right at the end of part one, we altered the table and we added this masked data for the credit rating column. Now, I stopped part one because I wanted you to see this whole next section all together. Didn't want to break it in the middle. So here we go. To see this in action, keep in mind that right now I'm logged in as sysadmin. If I attempt to read from this data right now, notice select asterisk from sensitive data, and I execute that. I'm getting a squiggly here, by the way, because this has to do with IntelliSense and caching, and I won't worry with that right now. It's not masked. Well, why is that? It's because the user I'm using to execute this is sysadmin, and of course sysadmin can do anything. Let's take care of that. I'm going to create a user here using Transact SQL, and a little later on in the course, we're going to talk about various user accounts. And one of the things you're going to learn about are user accounts that you can't log in with, but we can grant permissions to them. Here we go. We're going to create a user called NP user. This is a non-privileged user, but I'm going to create it without a login. Now I'm going to grant some permissions to that user. So I'll grant select permissions on sensitive data, and I'll grant it to NP user, just like that. I will highlight that, creating that user and granting select permissions, and it looks like that completed successfully. And so now if I go back and retrieve the data from that table, notice that I'm still not getting it. Now, why am I not getting it yet? Well, we've left one little section out. We created the user and we granted permissions. Now we're going to have to execute as user, set that equal to NP user. Now we can do our select from sensitive data. And then notice I'm going to call revert as soon as this ends. And so this is going to revert me back to my original sysadmin login. Okay, so I'll execute this now. The credit rating just shows up as 0. So I don't see anything. I just see a single 0 there. And it looks to the person in the call center who doesn't have sysadmin privileges that there's no credit rating in there. Pretty cool stuff. So we've actually masked or hidden that away. Now let's do another one here. Let's alter our table again, and we'll alter the sensitive data table. And this time we're going to alter the column SSN, and we're going to add masked with, and notice a little bit different syntax here. We're going to call function, and this time it's going to be a partial. So I'm going to put partial. So I'm going to tell it to go 0 places and start adding this mask, XXX hyphen XX hyphen, and then I want to expose the last 4 digits. And then I will close out my parentheses. And so once again, we will alter our table. See if I've fat fingered anything here. Apparently not. So Control R will make that go away. And once again, I'm going to execute as this non-privileged user, NP user, and they'll run a select statement, and then we'll revert right back. This is what it looks like to that user. Notice the social security number is masked out. They only see the last 4 digits. This has happened to you lots of times, no doubt. You've called in to talk with someone about your account, a brokerage account, installment account, whatever, and they say, what's the last 4 digits of social security number? Notice we're not exposing the entire social security number there. Really, really nice stuff. How about let's do one more here. I am going to take this alter table statement away, and I'm going to give us just a little more room here. Once again, let's work with this credit card data. Okay, we'll alter the table, sensitive data, alter column, credit card, add mask. You kind of get the feel of it now. And we're going to do it with the function. And again, the syntax, very similar for this one. We're going to do another partial. And this time we're going to tell it 0. That means start at the very first one. Let's don't show any on the front end. And now we're going to just kind of count 1, 2, 3, 4 hyphen 1, 2, 3, 4 hyphen 1, 2, 3, 4 hyphen. We just want to see the last 3 digits of the credit card number. And we will put our single quote right there, and we'll have to see if everything goes away. Let's make sure that we have everything here. Function. Actually, I've got this in the wrong place. So let's back this up to here. And now that's starting to feel a little bit better. And somehow talking and typing at the same time, I have fat fingered things. So here we go. That looks much better. So we'll execute that. We get a positive result back. Control R will remove the results. And now when we execute it, notice credit card column. We can see the last 3 digits, but not the rest of it. Now, one more before I let you go here. Let's take a look at this email column. We're going to alter the table sensitive data. I'm going to alter the column, and I'm just going to kind of shortcut it here, email, and I'm going to add the mask. And this time, I'm going to take all of this out, and I'm just going to tell it to add the email mask to that. I will highlight this. I'll execute it. Once again, we've completed successfully, and we will execute as that non-privileged user. Notice what's happened to our email now. We see the first letter and nothing else in .com. Now, we've probably shaved too much off of this. It does give us an idea. We can ask them, what's the first letter of your email? And what's the last 3 digits? And if one of these had been a .net or a .biz or something like that, it would have made it a little more useful. That is a quick look at some examples of data masking. Now, I would strongly encourage you to go out there and play with some of the different functionalities that you can find in the documentation. But this is a very, very powerful functionality. Keep in mind, we are not storing this data in any kind of masked format. It's in clear text out there. If I just go execute this now, revert it back, and I'll be executing it this time as sysadmin, and notice the data is there. It has not been changed in any way in the table. This is a result of permissions when this is actually being requested based on this mask that was added. This is really, really nice functionality. I think you're going to find a lot of uses for this. So that's a quick look in a couple of parts at an example of using dynamic data masking.